back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad, and on this episode we'll be exploring number 11 from AFI's 100 Years, 100 Passions, the 100 Greatest Love Stories.
All right, number 11 is Annie Hall, released in 1977, directed by Woody Allen, starring Woody Allen and Diane Keaton.
The synopsis for this romantic comedy is as follows. Comedian Alvy Singer, played by Woody Allen, is trying to understand why his relationship with Annie Hall, played by Diane Keaton, ended a year prior. The pair met while playing tennis doubles with mutual friends. At first, Annie appears uninterested in Alvy, who is neurotic and seemingly hung up on his past relationship failures, including 2 divorces. They eventually begin dating, often engaging in long, mentally stimulating conversations. After the first time they make love, their true natures are exposed. Alvy is a nervous wreck, and Annie is relaxed and smokes a joint. Soon, Annie admits she loves Alvy, while he buys her books on death and says his feelings are more than just love. The tension between them grows once Annie moves in with him. They eventually break up, and he searches for the truth in relationship, asking strangers on the street about the nature of love, questioning his formative years, and imagining a cartoon version of himself arguing with a cartoon version of Annie portrayed as the evil queen from Snow White. Alvy attempts a return to dating, but is marred by his neuroses and an episode of bad sex that is interrupted by a late-night call from Annie insisting he come over to kill 2 spiders in her bathroom. A reconciliation follows, with a vow to stay together. However, their separate discussions with their therapists make it evident there is an unspoken and unbridgeable divide. When Alvy accepts an offer to present an award on TV, they travel to LA with Alvy's friend Rob. On the return trip, they agree the relationship is not working. After losing Annie to her record producer, Tony, Alvy unsuccessfully tries rekindling the flame with a marriage proposal. Back in New York, he stages a play of their relationship, but he changes the ending to have her accept his proposal. They meet a final time in the Upper East Side after they have both moved on with someone new.
So again, we have Woody Allen.
Yeah. So this one's a little different for me than Manhattan. So this one, he almost makes it all the way through without being creepy.
Mm-hmm.
He's so close. He's so close. Like, we make it into the final act.
Yes.
But then he has this scene where it's him and Rob, and they're in a car, and this is when they in LA. So this is like the real far end of the movie, like far into the third act of the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have a scene in the car, and of course Rob is dating a 17-year-old girl, and it just comes across like this is a normal thing. It's like, dude, can you not get through any kind of movie with having some, pedolictic fantasy in your movie? It's like, so you're weird. An absolute freaking creepy fuck.
He's so
it's
creepy.
So gross. It's just gross. And it really mars the movie because up until that point, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's way better than I remember it being. Like, this movie has always pissed me off in a way because the year it was released, it came out in 1977, which is the same year Star Wars came out. And this is your Academy Award winner. Not Star Wars, this one.
Yeah.
Which one has had more social impact?
That's
Which
the
one
thing.
is a better movie? All of that. I'm sorry.
How does the Academy
because they don't it was a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
And honestly at the time no one could understand the kind of impact that a film like Star Wars would have on, the whole industry.
Yeah.
I mean it completely changed the way movies are made, marketed, all of that.
Yeah.
But even besides that,
yeah, so this movie, it has its moments.
There
are moments that are really funny.
He really showcases how good a writer he is in this movie. There is some really, really funny stuff.
Yeah.
This movie is actually pretty avant-garde in a lot of ways. There's fourth wall breaking. There's a lot of really interesting film techniques, which really falls outside of what Woody Allen generally does. He's kind of known as a one camera, one room kind of filmmaker. His movies are very cerebral and about the dialogue. And this one actually has some pretty cool visual imagery in it.
Yeah, it does.
And I mean, up until that point, I was like, up until that point, the point I was talking about, when they have to have that scene in the car, I actually kind of forgot that this was a Woody Allen movie for a bit. Because I have an aversion to Woody Allen movies. Ever since I kind of found out who he is, I have not seen a Woody Allen
Manhattan movie, like, really threw me over the edge.
Like, I had seen some Woody Allen movies, but then, you know, when the stuff started coming out about him and his stepdaughter, and then later, you know, the stuff that his stepson came out with in his book.
I don't think we have to rehash.
Yeah, I had seen this movie before, so some of his newer stuff I haven't seen at all, and he's not a filmmaker I just visit, but kind of coming back to this, you're kind of, oh yeah, he's a really, really good writer. There's some funny stuff.
There is some really funny comments.
He's got great chemistry with Diane Keaton. He to his credit as a male writer, he gives her a lot of great lines.
Yeah.
It's a
lot of depth.
It's a super fair movie in terms of, you know,
equality.
It's super fair, which you don't always see with male writers and directors. She hasn't looked down upon for anything. You know, they do talk about her, you know, past relationships and stuff like that, and he does make fun of it, but it's in the kind of way that couples do that. I mean, we do that. We've had those conversations where, you know, we talk about our past, and it's very light and good natured, and that's what happens in this film too. So.
I think too, like, this whole relationship that they have is very realistic. Like, they get, you know, they break up, they come back, they break up. One wasn't sure if they should have ever broke up, and it's a very realistic story. I mean, he's super neurotic and everything.
And it's an adult love story too.
Yes, it's an adult love story. It's complicated. Diane Keaton is great. This is really like the movie that made her, really. Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, it's a shame. Like that scene, it just really, really mars it for me. Just like listening to that scene, you're like, why? And it
doesn't even need to be there.
It's completely inconsequential to anything in the movie. Like, if you just, like, even today, if you cut the scene out of the movie, it wouldn't change anything, and it would actually make it a better movie. Yeah. It's just, like, why he has to inject that into his movie. And it's just like, you know, it's already bad, most of his movies, where he's got, you know, he plays himself and, you know, increasingly aged, and the women either are the same age or younger. This is the one movie where he and the woman are the closest in age. There's just a few years difference between, you know, the two of them. So there's nothing creepy about it at all, like you would have with, you know, some of his future movies or something like Manhattan.
So it was a good story. And one thing that was really funny that I read, that the scene where he sneezes into the cocaine was actually...
Was that an accident?
It was an accident.
Oh!
Our neighbors are home. One thing that's funny is, like, him sneezing into the cocaine was a complete accident.
Really?
And the audience, when they first watched it, laughed so hard that he was like, okay, let's keep it in, because it was really funny.
That's always the fun thing about movies, is when you have those kind of happy accidents where something like that happens.
Yeah.
And it becomes like the thing that you really remember the movie for, is something that's not in the script at all.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. But you know what? It fits his character so much.
It really does.
It really, I mean, like imagining this guy, you know, he's like
the male version of Debbie Downer.
And, you know, he's trying to be kind of hip, you know, at this party, and he doesn't even know how to, like, you know, he can't even just, like, relax and do a line of coke with these people. He even screws that up. It's funny.
Yeah, it's good. There's some really sad moments when they're realizing they shouldn't be in a relationship together. It was sad. But it's a good movie. I didn't want to like it, but I did like it.
I liked most of it, but that one scene, it just, like, sometimes that just happens. That scene, I'll be perfectly honest. I went into it with preconceived notions
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of who the filmmaker is.
For sure.
And frankly, up until that point, they really got washed away. And I was enjoying the film.
Yes.
And then that thing comes up and I'm like, oh, that's right. It's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
And you just can't help yourself. You have to talk about it in some fashion. It's just weird.
It is weird.
We both kind of dinged it for some of that. I gave it a 52. Jerry gave it a 54. The list score is 53.
There was one joke that he made that made me laugh so hard, where she parks like in the middle of the street. She doesn't park near the curb or something, and he says, "Oh yeah, I didn't want to be that close to the curb anyway," or something. It was really funny. So yeah, a lot of good sense of humor, a lot of good funny moments for sure.
It's just he couldn't let his
he couldn't let his creepiness just...
couldn't let his creepy worldview go. He had to inject it, which kind of ruined it for me in the end.
It did. All right, so that was number 11, Annie Hall. If you have any comments, please leave a message. If you feel very strongly that we're totally in the wrong, or if you absolutely hate this movie, let us know. If you'd like to speak to us directly, please do so at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But for now, I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.